What if I told you that some SUVs on the road today are so reliable that people just never sell them? I'm talking about 200,000, 300,000, or even 500,000 miles. No major repairs and no nightmares at the dealership where the service advisor looks at you like you are a walking ATM. Just drive it, maintain it, and it keeps going. Today, we are counting down the 10 SUVs built to last a lifetime. And trust me, number 1 will surprise absolutely no one who has ever stepped foot in a professional garage. But stick around because the ones in the middle of this list are the hidden gems that most people walk right past while looking at shiny, unreliable junk. I am the garage inspector, and I have seen enough blown head gaskets and shredded transmissions to last 10 lifetimes. Before we dive into these bulletproof machines, do me a huge favor. If you want to stop getting ripped off by your mechanic, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment below telling me how many miles you have on your current rig. Let's build the strongest community of informed owners on the internet. Now, let's get into it. Subaru Forester. Kicking things off at number 10, we have got the Subaru Forester. Specifically, the 4th and 5th generations. We are looking at models from 2014 all the way to today. Now, look, I know what you are thinking. Subaru's reputation is a little complicated. Mention the word Subaru to a mechanic, and they usually start having flashbacks to head gasket failures that looked like a crime scene in the driveway. But here is the secret the all-wheel drive cult won't tell you. Subaru actually fixed it. Starting with the 2014 redesign, they moved to a timing chain setup and addressed those reliability concerns. The modern Forester turned into a genuinely tough, dependable daily driver. A big reason is the boxer engine layout where the cylinders sit flat instead of upright. That lowers the center of gravity and reduces vibration. Less vibration means less stress on components. It is simple physics, and it helps these things age better than a fine wine, unlike some European SUVs that age like an open carton of milk in the July sun. Then you have got the symmetrical all-wheel drive, which has been battle-tested for decades in snow, mud, and rain. It is perfect for people who think a little bit of dust on the road constitutes an off-road adventure. One thing owners constantly talk about is visibility. The windows are huge. You can actually see out of it, which is a revolutionary concept in an era where most SUVs have windows the size of a mail slot. It is a no-nonsense daily driver that quietly racks up miles year after year without demanding your firstborn child in repair bills. Honda Pilot. At number 9, we have the 3rd generation Honda Pilot, covering 2016 through 2022. 3 rows, a 3.5-liter V6, and an absolute track record of boring, beautiful reliability. Here is what makes the Pilot so durable. It is almost never working hard. That V6 was designed for way more stress than suburban school runs and the occasional trip to a big box store to buy 72 rolls of toilet paper. When an engine is consistently operating below its limits, it lasts. It is like an elite athlete who only spends their day walking to the fridge. Honda also built the Pilot to share parts with the Odyssey minivan and the Ridgeline pickup. That means these components were produced by the millions. Any kinks were ironed out fast, and replacement parts are cheap and available everywhere. You do not need a specialist who speaks 3 languages and charges $200 an hour to fix a Pilot. Your local shop can do it with their eyes closed. It is the automotive equivalent of a pair of dad jeans. Maybe not the flashiest thing at the party, but they are comfortable and they are never going to let you down when things get heavy. Acura RDX. Number 8. And pay close attention here because this one is a sleeper deal. We are talking about the 2nd generation Acura RDX from 2013 through 2018. Now, listen to your Uncle Inspector here. Acura has had some stumbles lately. The newer 3rd generation brought a turbocharged 4-cylinder and an infotainment system that makes people want to throw their phone out the window. But that 2nd gen? That is the sweet spot. This beauty runs a 3.5-liter V6 paired with a 6-speed automatic. No fancy, confused computers trying to figure out which of 10 gears to pick. It is old school, it is proven, and that J-Series V6 is one of the greatest engines Honda ever engineered. The only thing you have to do is stay on top of the timing belt at 100,000 miles. Do that one service, and this engine will go another 100,000 without even flinching. Acura also used a simpler all-wheel drive system here, not the complex system found in newer models that requires a degree in rocket science to maintain. Fewer failure points mean more money in your pocket for things you actually enjoy, like grease-stained burgers and weekend trips. If you want genuine luxury, seats that feel like a hug from grandma, and a quiet cabin without the European luxury repair bills that feel like a second mortgage, this RDX is one of the best-kept secrets on the used market. Honda CR-V. Next up at number 7 is the Honda CR-V, covering the 4th and 5th generation models from 2012 through 2022. Specifically, I am looking at two versions. The earlier ones with the 2.4-liter K-Series engine and the newer hybrids. The K24 engine in the older CR-V is the stuff of legend on mechanic forums. It is simple, it is smooth, and every technician in America has worked on one. If a mechanic tells you they cannot fix a K-Series Honda, back away slowly and never give them your keys again. Maintenance costs on these are ridiculously low. We are talking about $407 a year on average. I have spent more than that on coffee and bad decisions in a single month. The newer hybrid takes things even further. Honda's two-motor hybrid system basically kicks the traditional transmission to the curb. Fewer moving parts means fewer things to go clunk in the night. Plus, regenerative braking means your brake pads can last 100,000 miles. CR-V owners are a weird bunch, and I mean that with love. They will not let go of these cars. You will find forums full of people with 250,000 miles asking, "Should I finally trade it in?" And the answer is always a loud, resounding no. Just keep driving it until the wheels fall off, then bolt them back on and drive some more. Mazda CX-5. Number 6 is the Mazda CX-5, spanning both generations from 2012 all the way through today. This one deserves way more credit than it gets from the average buyer. While every other car company was chasing fuel economy by shrinking their engines to the size of a soda can and bolting on a turbocharger, Mazda took a different path. They built a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter engine with a high compression ratio. They call it Sky Active, but I call it common sense. They managed to get efficiency without the extreme heat stress that kills turbos. And here is the secret sauce that makes me love this car. Mazda refused to put a CVT in the CX-5. While Nissan and Subaru were going all in on those rubber band feeling transmissions that love to explode at 80,000 miles, Mazda stuck with a traditional 6-speed torque converter automatic. That one decision alone makes the CX-5 a long-term champion. The interior feels like something that costs $10,000 more, like you accidentally sat in an Audi but paid for a used Corolla. Maintenance bills average $400 to $500 a year. That is peanuts for a vehicle that actually lets you feel the road instead of feeling like you are driving a kitchen appliance. Toyota Highlander. Halfway through and we are at number 5, the Toyota Highlander, covering the 3rd and 4th generation models from 2014 through today. We are talking 3 rows, fuel efficiency, and a vehicle that is basically family-proof. Toyota's strategy here was simple. Take what works, share it across the fleet, and build so many of them that every tiny flaw is hunted down and destroyed. The Highlander shares its guts with the Lexus RX and the Toyota Sienna. When you produce parts at that scale, defects get caught faster than a teenager trying to sneak back into the house after curfew. The hybrid version is where I really nerd out. Toyota's eCVT sounds like a CVT, but it is not. It is a planetary gear set. No belts, no bands, no clutches, just gears. Some Highlander hybrid owners are reporting 300,000 miles on the original battery and transmission. That is not a typo. 300,000 miles while getting 36 miles per gallon and hauling a family of 7. It is the ultimate buy it and forget it machine for anyone who has kids that treat the back seat like a literal dumpster. Lexus RX. Number 4 is the Lexus RX, specifically the 3rd and 4th generations from 2010 through 2022. Listen, this is the benchmark. This is the vehicle that set the standard for luxury crossover reliability and has held that crown for over 20 years. If you want to know what a mechanic drives when they finally have enough money to buy something nice, it is usually one of these. The RX 350 uses a 3.5-liter V6 that is quite possibly one of the most tested engines Toyota has ever produced. By the time you buy one, you are getting a powertrain that has been stress-tested by millions of owners across millions of miles. Now, compare the maintenance of an RX to a German luxury SUV at 100,000 miles. A BMW or an Audi at 6 figures on the odometer start sending you repair bills that look like phone numbers. Air suspension failures, electronic gremlins that move like ghosts, and specialized brakes that cost a kidney. The RX at 100,000 miles? It usually just needs tires, some fresh fluids, and maybe a car wash because you forgot what color it was. It is not uncommon to see these things from the early 2000s still in daily service with the original engines. The cabin materials do not fall apart, the ride stays smooth, and your blood pressure stays low. It is luxury without the luxury price tag at the shop. Toyota Sequoia. At number 3, we have the vehicle with the most impressive raw numbers on this entire list. The 2nd generation Toyota Sequoia from 2008 through 2022. This beast is built on the Tundra pickup truck platform. The axles, the frame, the cooling system, everything was engineered for serious, heavy-duty work. When you use a truck-grade platform just to haul groceries and kids to soccer practice, those components are barely even breaking a sweat. It is like using a sledgehammer to drive a thumbtack. Under the hood is the 5.7-liter V8. This engine's reputation borders on mythological. Tundra owners have taken this exact engine past 1 million miles. I said 1 million. Toyota built it with an oversized cooling system and internal parts that are simply heavier and tougher than they need to be. It is the automotive equivalent of a tank dressed in a tuxedo. Here is the number that will blow your mind. According to the data, nearly 40% of second-generation Sequoias make it past 250,000 miles. That is about 8 times higher than the average vehicle. Sure, it drinks gasoline like a sailor on leave, but you will never spend that money on a tow truck. If you want a vehicle that will outlast your mortgage, this is the one. Lexus GX 460. Number 2. And if you do not know the secret behind this vehicle, you are about to get an education. The GX 460 looks like a premium luxury SUV built for country club parking lots and picking up expensive lattes. And it is that. But underneath the leather, the wood trim, and that shiny Lexus badge, this thing is a global Land Cruiser Prado. This is the same vehicle that international aid agencies, military contractors, and expedition teams rely on in the most punishing environments on Earth. Toyota did not build this for American suburbs. They built it for roads where breaking down means you are stranded in a desert for 3 days. Then they put a Lexus badge on it and sent it to Houston. The 4.6-liter V8 paired with a 6-speed automatic has been largely unchanged for over a decade. When you keep the same setup that long, you know every single failure point, and you have fixed every last one of them. This engine is known to run forever on basic oil changes. Even the suspension is done right. Lexus used a mechanical hydraulic system called KDSS. No electronic airbags at all 4 corners to leak and sag, no sensors that go haywire when it rains, just a hydraulic system that does its job quietly. It is the ultimate cheat code in the used car world because you are getting Land Cruiser bones with Lexus refinement. The cabin is quieter than a library, the materials last a lifetime, and it will outlive almost everything else in your neighborhood. Toyota 4Runner. And finally, the number 1 SUV that never breaks down, and absolutely nobody is surprised. The Toyota 4Runner, 5th generation, from 2010 through 2024. This vehicle was in production in essentially the same form for 14 years. And here is the thing, that is not a weakness. That is the entire point. While every other manufacturer was chasing the next shiny trend, adding turbos, 10-speed transmissions, and giant touchscreens that glitch if you look at them wrong, Toyota kept the 4Runner exactly where it was. The 4.0-liter V6 uses a timing chain, not a belt. That means no replacement interval and no surprise $1,200 service at 90,000 miles. The 5-speed automatic is so over-engineered for the weight of this vehicle that mechanics call it boring. And in my world, boring is the highest compliment I can give a machine. The body-on-frame construction means this is a real truck, not a car dressed up in a costume. It handles off-road abuse, high mileage stress, and daily punishment without developing those annoying rattles you see in cheap crossovers. The physical knobs and buttons for the air conditioning are still there, they still work, and they are simple. No giant tablet that costs $3,000 to replace when the screen dies. Simply put, the 4Runner is the SUV equivalent of a cast-iron skillet. You just keep using it forever and pass it down to your grandkids. And that is the list, folks. If you are tired of your car being a permanent resident at the local shop, buy one of these 10 machines. They might not all have the fanciest ambient lighting or a screen the size of a movie theater, but they will actually start every single morning for the next 20 years. Buy smart, stay on top of your basic maintenance, and these SUVs will treat you better than your own kin. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to see more no-nonsense advice from the garage, do not forget to subscribe to the Garage Inspector, hit that like button, and leave a comment below. I want to know, which one of these would you trust to take you across the country tomorrow? I read every single one of your stories. I am the Garage Inspector, and I will see you in the next one. Keep those engines running.